Welcome, and thank you for tuning in to the Sunday services at Center for Spiritual Living, Denver. We are a loving and prospering community in the heart of Denver and online. We now conduct hybrid services at the historic Grant Avenue Community Center and Sacred Place, located at 216 South Grant Street, Denver, Colorado. All are welcomed here. A place, space, and face of love. We are a spiritual community practicing universal principles that enrich our lives. We are grateful that you have blessed us with your presence. While online, we'd love to know you're watching with us. Feel free to leave a comment and let everyone appreciate you. With everything going on, life can feel overwhelming. CSL Denver wants you to know we are here for you. Please know that our practitioners are available for personal prayer work. Our licensed spiritual practitioners' names and phone numbers are available on our website at csldenver.org. Or if you have a prayer request, feel free to email it to info@csldenver.org. For your convenience, you'll find clickable links in the description of this broadcast. Rev L. Zia, along with all our guest speakers, practitioners, service coordinators, and musical inspirations, want you to know how truly grateful we are that you are with us today. Thank you for your continued support and participation in our services, workshops, and events, as well as providing financial contributions to our center. If you're interested in upcoming events and information, we send out weekly newsletters. Sign up by visiting www.csldenver.org. We deliver services in a hybrid format where we meet in person at 216 South Grant Street. We will also continue to live stream all services on Facebook and YouTube every Sunday. Find us on our respective channels as well as on New Thought Media Network. Again, thank you for your precious attention. Now prepare for engaging enlightenment.
There is a garden where dreams come true, a beautiful garden where God's grace blooms. There is a garden where everything grows, a beautiful garden where love is sown. And in this place of light and love, you can have anything that you're dreaming of. There is a garden where dreams come true, a beautiful garden. That garden is you. And in this place of light and love, you can't have anything that you're dreaming of. There is a garden where dreams come true, a beautiful garden. That garden is you. Such a beautiful garden. That garden is you.
Good morning, everybody. It's a nice, hot summer morning. I'm Alice Nutter, a practitioner here at CSL Denver, and I invite you to join me in an invocation. So if you're comfortable, you can sit back and close your eyes and just take in a deep breath and let it out. Just absolutely knowing the truth of who each and every one of us is, knowing that spirit is in this room, is everywhere. It is in the air we breathe. It is the floor we stand on. It is in everything. Just knowing that divine love is always surrounding us, holding us, moving us into that space and that place of love that is always there. We're just turning our attention to us more. And so knowing that as we move into this service, that it is so truly blessed that all who are here in person and all who are watching online are so truly blessed with joining us and being of service and taking whatever it is that we bring from Reverend Elzia's talk, from the music, from my reading, whatever, that they get what they need from that and they take that out into the rest of their day and their week and their lives and let it move them. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for this time together. I'm so grateful for this teaching. I'm so grateful for each and every person here. And from that place of deep, deep gratitude, I release this into the one mind, the one heart, knowing that all is well, and it is so. And so it is. So my reading comes from this month's Science Mind magazine, and we have one more for sale over here if anybody wants it. It's from Reverend Dr. Sunny Cantrell Smith, who is our spiritual leader for Centers for Spiritual Living. So she says, I have struggled with the idea of perfection most of my life. I must be perfect in everything I do. This relentless pursuit of perfection often left me feeling exhausted and overwhelmed. It's as though every task, every endeavor carries the weight of an unattainable standard. But lately I started to question this mindset. Is perfection truly the goal, or is there beauty and growth in imperfection? Perhaps an imperfection is not a flaw to be corrected, but a characteristic to be cherished. I believe imperfection can support empathy and understanding. When we accept our own flaws, we become more compassionate towards those around us. We create a culture of inclusion and support where differences are celebrated rather than criticized. Shifting our perspective of perfection grants us the freedom to live authentically without fear of judgment or rejection. It liberates us from the pressure to conform to societal expectations and allows us to express ourselves genuinely. Whether pursuing unconventional passions, challenging societal norms, or simply being true to our beliefs and values, accepting imperfection empowers us to live on our terms. By embracing our perfections, we become more resilient in the face of challenges and more willing to take risks in pursuit of our goals. It teaches us that failure and setbacks are not signs of inadequacy, but opportunities for learning and development. We live in a world that often promotes a homogenized version of beauty, success, and happiness. The concept of being perfectly imperfect serves as a powerful antidote. It encourages us to redefine our standards based on our own unique experiences. It reminds us that true fulfillment comes from embracing our authenticity rather than trying to live up to someone else's idea of who we should be. Ultimately, the freedom to be who you are is a liberating journey of self-discovery and self-acceptance. And now from our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes, from the Basic Ideas of Science of Mind. If you believe you are locked in a room and believe it so firmly that you do not even try the doors and windows, the results are exactly the same as though you were, though the actual truth may be that there is no lock and that you are free to go as you please. And now we get to hear from our beloved Susan Clark.
Hello and greetings to all my friends there at CSL Denver. Also want to say hello to any of you who might be watching this online from exotic, exciting ports of call. My name is Susan Clark, and I'm here to provide some music for your service. I picked out a song by Sue K. Riley, and this is a great congregational song. It's called I Am the Thinker. If you feel like singing along at any time, please do. And even though I'm not there to see if you're singing in person, I will somehow cosmically know if you are lifting your voices and making a joyful noise with me. So here comes a little intro for you. I am the thinker who thinks the thought that changes things that shape my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thought I have the power to change my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thought that changes things that shape my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thought I have the power to change my life. If you ask me who am I am wisdom, I am light, I am more than meets the eye, I cannot be defined. I am the thinker who thinks the thought that changes things that shape my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thought I have the power to change my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thought that changes things that shape my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thought I have the power to change my life. If you ask me who am I am beauty, I am joy, I am more than meets the eye, I cannot be defined. 'Cause I am the thinker who thinks the thought that changes things that shape my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thought I have the power to change my life. I can choose to be the light that brightens someone's darkest night. I'm so much more than meets the eye, I cannot be defined. Oh, I am the thinker who thinks the thought that changes things, that shapes my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thought I have the power to change my life. Are you singing along? We're gonna do it a couple more times. I am the thinker who thinks the thought that changes things that shape my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thought I have the power to change my life. One more time. I am the thinker who thinks the thought that changes things that shapes my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thought I have the power to change my life. I have the power to change my life. You have the power to change your life. Thank you.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. And welcome to CSL Denver, a place, a space, and a face of love. A spiritual community teaching ancient wisdom and utilizing universal principles to empower our lives and the lives of others. And one of the main things that we teach is exactly what Susan was just singing about. Change your thinking and change your life. Change your mind and change your life. Change your perception and change your life. Now, this month, we're working on this monthly theme on the gifts of imperfection. And today we want to talk about this idea of shifting our perception of what perfection is or what perfection means. Because oftentimes this idea of perfect or perfection winds up being a stumbling block, because it's fixed on some goal. Well, not even a goal, but some idea, some image, some picture of what someone else, more than likely, has indicated what perfection is. We see all over social media, normal media, print media, these images of what perfection looks like. And unfortunately, what happens when we reach that perfection? So if you get this perfect car, guess what you can have? This perfect woman. If you get this perfect house, you can have this perfect presence among your neighbors, among your friends. But in actuality, that's a stumbling block, because one thing we understand about the idea of perfection, when we say something is perfect, the idea that comes to mind is that it's never changing. It's static. It's going to be right there. But it only takes us probably, 5 seconds, 10 seconds. I give us a little grace. 10 seconds to look around and realize, in actuality, the world, our lives, our individual selves are changing moment by moment by moment. So that is also the nature of the universe. It's constantly changing. So if perfection or being perfect is this static, ideal thing, somebody got it wrong. Either we got it wrong or God got it wrong. Now, I'm taking best that I got it wrong, because this magnificent universe, this magnificent world that we live in, I can't create it. I can't recreate it. Oftentimes, I can't even fathom it in this idea of perfection. So what does that mean? That means we have to begin to look at life with a shifted perspective. We have to be able to get rid of the traditional ideas of what perfect is and what perfection is, so that we can expand our lives, so that we can expand our consciousness. And as Susan said, we get this opportunity to change our mind, to change our thought. Now, most of us, if not all of us, have heard the proverbial statement. And when I say it, it's going to just resonate in your head. Practice makes perfect. Everybody's heard that in some context or another. But I'm saying that is absolutely wrong. Because when we think about it, what we really come to understand, practice makes improvement. Practice makes improvement. If you've ever tried to play an instrument, if you've ever tried to learn another language, if you ever participated in a sport and wanted to be better, the teacher tells you one and only one thing. They don't tell you to be perfect. They say practice, practice, practice. That's the mantra, if you will. That is the affirmation, if you will, to move beyond any point to the next point, a greater point, a higher advantage. And when we can do that, things happen. Things happen. Think about something that at one point you weren't good at, but you practiced and you got better. Now, the one place that all of us, we might not remember it, but our parents remember it, or we remember it about our children, is when we first start to walk. There is not a parent on the planet that the first time the child walks and falls down, they look at that child and say, "You are not perfect. Please do not try to walk anymore. You did not do it perfectly. So stop." What do? They encourage the child to get back up, try it again. They hold their hand. They hold something in front of them that they like, to give them a reimagined idea of what walking is, of what I am in this space. That's how we have to look at life. Not as these things that are challenges or sometimes called imperfections or oftentimes called problems, as something that keeps us from reaching our magnificence. Not our perfection, our magnificence. Because as we magnify the glory of God within ourselves, everything comes into view. Everything's become possible. Now, one of our fellow New Thought practitioners, Les Brown, he says this. If I could get that slide, it says, in order to do something you've never done, you got to become someone you've never been. I think that all of us have great potential within us, but greatness is a choice. It's not our destiny. And in the pursuit of our dreams, we are introduced to trials, failures, and disappointments, which take us to the door of discovery and greatness. When we think about any great invention, no matter the field, electronics, medicine, you name it, whoever did it failed at least 2-3 times. How many times have we heard Thomas Edison fooled around with the light? How many times did the first person who came up with the polio vaccine had to go back to the medical community to get them to understand that this works? That same thing is happening and present and available to you in your life. To become something you've never been, you got to be something you've never been, which means you got to give up all the blocks, all the impediments, all the fear, all the doubt, all those things that are created, unfortunately, by this idea of perfection. How many times have you said, I'm not going to do X, Y, Z because I can't do it perfectly? And if I don't do it perfectly, somebody's going to judge me. Somebody's going to laugh at me. Somebody's going to put me down. All of us have had that feeling. But when we've got enough courage, when we've understood the divine calling that's in each and every one of us, we've rose above it. No matter how big or small. Because in God, there's no big and small. There just is. So if we've done it with something small, we can do it with something big. And this invites us, this idea of changing our perspective invites us to get a different vantage point. A different vantage point. I don't know if there are any bird watchers in the audience, or even mountain climbers. I bet you I can find 1 or 2 of them in here. Given all the mountains we got here in Colorado. But so just think about that moment when you're climbing the mountain and the various perspectives you see or you get as you take one more step up this 14,000-foot peak mountain. Not 14 feet, 14,000 feet. I want to make that clear. That's pretty high. And you're in rare air when you're up there. But one thing you're not short of, you might be short of air, but you are not short of vision and perspective. Not at all, because you can see 360 when you get to the top of the mountain. You can see something that looked like it was passable coming up, when now you say, ooh, I'm not going to try to take that one. That was a little more rugged than this one. I'm gonna bag this one and call it good. That's how we have to perceive life. That's how we have to begin to shift our perspectives so that we can begin to live the life that we were created to live. Now, there's a Bible verse in 2 Corinthians 4:18 that says this: So we fix our eyes not on what is seen, but on what is unseen. Since what is seen is temporal, but what is unseen is eternal. What is unseen is eternal. Because if I go by my temporal sight, when I'm at the foot of the mountain, the vision that I get as I elevate is totally different. That earthly vision is temporal. So we're using this metaphor that as we get to the mountaintop, we begin to see eternally. We begin to see with a broader perspective. And it transforms our thinking, which gives us the ability to transform our lives. And sometimes it comes down to a real question of, this is hard sometimes to wrestle with. But the questions sometimes get to the fact that, do you want to change? Are you comfortable wallowing in whatever it is you're wallowing in that you don't want to get out of? And I'll be the first one to say, sometimes I do it. Sometimes I'll have a argument with my wife, and I know she's right, but I'm wallowing in why I don't want her to be right. I'm finding every reason not to shift my perspective from where I want it to be for me to be right. But I have to get a better, environment, to transform myself into a better partner, into a better person. I have to shift, and I have to want to shift. Les Brown said in that first quote that you have to make a choice to shift your vision. It's always there, but you have to make a choice to shift, to see it, to view it, to understand it, to move within it. Because when we do that, it allows us this grand opportunity to begin again. If there are any martial artists in the audience of any kind, one of the things that every teacher tells you when you start, you got to empty your cup before you come into the dojo. Meaning, whatever you thought you knew, whatever you think you know, today's a brand new day. So we need to change your perspective. We need to alter your idea of what perfection is, because this is an opportunity to increase your understanding, to increase your wisdom, to increase your perception of what really is. And so as we begin to try to come up with some tools or come up with some perspectives, if you will, of how to change our lives, to influence, if you will. Got a lot of influences now in this environment, but how do we begin to make our lives more open for change of perspective, for a change of understanding? Well, I want to give you 3 R's. I'm going to give you the 3 R's, and it's not reading, relaxation, and arithmetic either. We got some different R's today that we want to deal with. The first one is reflection. Reflection. Now, reflection has many different meanings, but the 2 prevalent meanings is to think about something. The other reflection is to, redirect something. But the one we're talking about here is to ponder, to look at the blocks in our lives, to look at the challenges we face, and let's look at them and reflect on them in a new light. In a new light. A famous philosopher, Paulo Freire, he says this: learning is a process where knowledge is presented to us, then shaped through understanding, discussion, and reflection. See, if we have experiences in our life, they don't automatically teach us anything. They don't automatically teach. What they do automatically is put us in a state of fear or judgment or some of those things that begins to narrow our vision. But when we can take that experience and begin to talk about it and discuss it and glean from it and reflect on it, guess what happens? It's kind of like that story, Aladdin, where he rubs the lamp or he goes there and says, open sesame, the magic word, open sesame. Your life is exactly like that lantern that he says, open sesame. He goes in, he finds the lantern, he rubs it, and he gets 3 wishes. You have that same ability. You have the same opportunity to say those magic words. Open. Be open to something different. Open your perspective. Open your mind. Choose something different. Because when we can reflect on that, Margaret Wheatley, one of my favorite teachers, she teaches on this idea of quantum physics and how quantum physics and the real world mirror each other and how much we can learn. She says this, she says, without reflection, we just going blindly down the road. Without reflection, we're going blindly down the road. Now, that doesn't sound like a safe thing to me, first of all, to go anywhere blindly. And the way we prevent that is reflection. We've all heard the statement, if you keep doing the same thing the same way, expecting a different outcome, there's a lot of different words that people will place on you. I'm not going to recall any of them. I'm gonna let your mind fill that blank in. But when you have reflection, you can think, man, I done this 10 times and I done got the exact same results. What is it that needs to change? Is it me or the thing? Now, we have to think about that. We have to think about that because if we don't reflect on that, we wind up oftentimes in a worse situation than we were before. We get the problem compounds. It's like a compound math problem. It gets real hard, it gets all twisted. You got to remember order of operations and what do I do, the parentheses first, or does division and multiply come before subtraction and addition? Because that's what we're doing when we change our perspective. We're looking at what to subtract and what to add and what to multiply so that we begin to create a world that allows us total magnificence, total joy, total success. But we got to be open. We got to be willing. Now, the second thing, after we've reflected on all of this, the next thing we have to do is redefine. We got to redefine those things that keep us from stepping out. We have to redefine those things that we've looked at as problems or we've gotten stuck in this perfection mode and we think we can't do it that way. We can't do it. I can't do gymnastics like Miss Simone Biles. So I think I'm just going to stop doing gymnastics. Imagine the other 4 people that are going to the Olympics in Paris with her if they had that idea that she's perfect and there's no need of me trying. They wouldn't be on their way to Paris in a couple of weeks. They were able to redefine for themselves what it means to live fully in life, what it means to allow the glory of God that is in each and every one of us to expand and to shine through. Because you see, life is not a one-size-fits-all. It's not a one-size-fits-all. As much as I would love to do what Shaq did and dunk and break the backboard and I can't do it. I can't even get to the goal. Forget about breaking the backboard. It's not a one size fit all that we live, but we do have the opportunity to be magnificent right where we are. If we can redefine things. You know, Tim Cook, who's the CEO of Apple. And there was a time when he took over from Steve Jobs, and who was this, mega genius. He had this doubt about would he be able to carry on that legacy? Would he be able to expand that vision? And he had this thought. He says, I'm not going to focus on the barriers that are in front of me. What I'm going to focus on is getting to a higher vantage point so I get a better understanding of the problem that I'm dealing with. Because if I'm down here mired and bogged down by the barriers, no matter where I turn, that's all I'm going to see. But to get a different perspective, we have to get a different vantage point. We have to get a different vantage point. And when we can do that, we can redefine any issue, any problem at any time. We got to go back, though, to Les Brown. It's a choice. What do you choose to do? Do you continue to make excuses? A friend of mine is a concert pianist and teaches piano. And I was, you're at an event and you're just talking. You ain't really meaning nothing, but you're just talking. And I'm talking and I'm saying, oh yeah, I used to be a musician. I played clarinet and sax. I would love to play the piano. And so she said, okay, good. I'm going to give you a 5-minute exercise to do every day. 5 minutes, she said. If you do this 5 minutes every day for a month, the next time I see you, you'll have something to show me. And it was basically just scales. She said, play the C scale and then move up. You play the G scale. And 5 minutes a day. Now, I spend 5 minutes a day thinking about what I'm going to think about today. Ask me how many times I practiced that piano, though. I'm avoiding her right now. Because she's going to ask me when she see me. But because I didn't redefine myself in that space, I didn't take the little 5 minutes to improve my attitude, to improve my understanding of the keyboard, to improve my way of looking at problems. Doesn't take much. Just got to redefine it a little bit. Just got to redefine it just a little bit. And now, once we've reflected and we've redefined the thing, whatever the thing is, now the fun part comes in, I believe, and we have to redesign. We have to redesign ourselves. We have to redesign our environment. In some cases, we may have to redefine our friendships. Because I can't compare. The only thing I can compare between a pigeon and an eagle is that they're birds and they fly. At that point, I got to stop. Because at some point, the pigeon might be dinner for the eagle. The eagle's never going to be dinner for the pigeon. So I have to redefine and then redesign what's going on in my life. And here is the thing about redesigning something. It's a way to modify something. It's a way to re-articulate it. It's a way to reimagine and then move from that point, no matter what the circumstances. I'm sure a lot of you may have heard the story about Oprah Winfrey's life. We all know who she is. We all know what she has accomplished. But do you know the backstory of how she had to redesign her life to get there? Oprah was born in one of the poorest states, even to this day, that's Mississippi. She was born in a small town in Mississippi. She was physically, mentally, and emotionally abused. She got pregnant at the age of 14 and lost the baby after it was born. Now, for a lot of people, your perspective of life is going to be right here. I'm always going to be poor. I'm always going to be taken advantage of. Bad things are going to always happen to me. I'm going to lose things. By 14, this happens. But what was she able to do? She was able to redesign herself. She was able to reflect on what had happened. She was able to reframe that stuff, read it, and then refine it. And then she was able to redesign her life to where there is no one, I would imagine, or very few people at the least, who do not know who Oprah Winfrey is and the power she has and the influence she has. So the question becomes, where is that little Oprah Winfrey within us? Somewhere there's a little Oprah Winfrey in there that's giving us the opportunity every day to move beyond, to look at these so-called imperfections, to shift our vision, our perception of things, so that we're not looking for this perfect ideal world. We're looking for a world that's transformative, where there's joy, where there's excitement, where there's a little bit of angst about taking that next step because it's just powerful. So how many of us are going to make that commitment today? How many of us are going to make the commitment to take that chance, to pick up these 3 R's so that we can shift our perspective? George Bernard Shaw said this: life isn't about finding yourself. It's about creating yourself. What do you want to be? What do you want your relationships to be? What do you want your professional life to be? You have the power and the presence of the divine inspiration to do whatever it is that you want to do. The only thing that's really, really, really required is you got to make a choice. You got to make a choice. And hopefully today is that day that we make that decision, that we make that choice. And so as we close, let us continue and strive to shift our limited view of ourselves, of life. Let us continue to know and understand that deep down inside in each of us, there is that spark waiting for you to fan it, waiting for you to kindle that flame into a raging fire so that we can see the world as God intended it, through God's eyes, a place where there's love, harmony, peace, excellence, and understanding. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, Mother God, that divine energy, that divine light, that divine love that is always present, regardless of the circumstances, regardless of the situation, that allows us to see ourselves in the light of God, to see ourselves as emanations of the Most High, endowed with powers and insights and all manner of things that allow us to be a reflection of the understanding and wisdom of God. And so as we begin to cultivate that and to allow that to recreate ourselves, to redesign ourselves, as we reflect on the power of who we are, we step into a brave new world, a world of transformation, a world of love, a world of excitement, a world of adventure that propels us to make a choice, that propels us to redesign our lives if it's not what we want it to be. Because remember, it only takes 5 minutes to practice. And if you get more than 5, who knows what's possible? So I know and I declare right here, right now, for all those in this room, all those that may be listening online, and those who may listen to this recording later, I am declaring right now an emancipation from any idea of perfection, and that we step into a world of possibility, a world that's seeded by perception, by imagination, by creativity. And as we do that, we free ourselves, and we give others permission to free themselves, to see our lives, our activities from the eyes of God. And so it is in that understanding that that vision is available that I give thanks. I give thanks for the knowing, for the understanding that we can see things differently, and we can put on the vision of God to see our lives. And so as I just released this prayer into a law that is always and already in effect, it has already taken these words and seeded them and planted them, and they have already begun to grow in our lives. They've already begun to sprout and create new opportunities for us, new ways of reflection, new ways of reframing, new ways of redesigning. And because we know the law does its work effortlessly, we just release it, we let it go, and we know that it is already so, and so it is. Amen. And so it is. Amen. And so there is this one slide by Lance Armstrong I want to share before we go into call to actions. Lance Armstrong said this: one of the redeeming things about being an athlete is redefining what is humanly possible. And as we get ready to go into this Olympic season, I love the Olympics. I don't think I could be one. I don't know. But I love to watch them and think about it. I got to redefine I may be too old to redefine myself for that. But I'm going to think of something. Maybe I could go do curling, maybe. I don't know. But when we are able to know that we can look at these athletes and know that they can do things that we perceive as humanly impossible. Humanly impossible. And how do they do it? They do it, I believe, by taking steps like these call to actions. So when we look at these call to actions for this week, 2 very simple ones. What is one thing in your life that you can use the 3 R's to shift your perspective about something in your life you want to change, improve, or release? Just ponder, just reflect, find something, and then journal about how this effect changed or enhanced your life or the thing you are looking to improve or change. Just take a little time with yourself. And as we ponder this and as we reflect on this, we're going to step into this week with this affirmation to help anchor this idea of who we are and what we're trying to do. So when we look at this affirmation, as I shift my focus, new possibilities emerge everywhere. As I shift my focus, new possibilities emerge everywhere. And so let's take that on today. Let's take that on for the rest of the week as we move into this world where we create a magnificent place for all. And so it is now that time for sacred giving. And we want to thank everyone that supports this community, because we are trying and striving and working towards building a place where you can feel welcome, where you can feel at home, where you can come in and redesign yourself with these teachings, with this community. And so if you look across the bottom of the screen, you'll see the many different ways you can give. You can give by going to our website and pressing the donate button, or you can go to the PO, send to the PO box, or you can text on your phone. But however you give, please do give. We need your support. We need your love to continue doing what we're doing. And so if it feels comfortable to you, one thing we do to anchor these affirmations into our heart and into our lives, we place our hand over our heart and repeat the affirmation. This perfect gift is spirit informed, circulating and blessing all that it touches. Freely I give and joyously I receive, and so it is. Amen. And so it is. Amen. And now Alice is going to come up and give us a few announcements.
Okay, next Sunday, it's the third Sunday of the month, and we always get together after service. So right after service until about 12 noon, we will have the Divine Dialogue. So we share some fellowship, some goodies, and then we just get together and have a discussion about Reverend Elzia's talk, or just anything spiritual, or just whatever is up in our minds and souls. And we've been doing the Cinema for the Soul about every other month. And so this month we are doing July 27th, which is a Saturday at 5:30. We are going to be showing Bob Marley's One Love movie. And so there's some flyers over there if you want to have a reminder of it. We've got it posted on our website. It's just a very interesting movie. And as always, we have discussion afterwards to kind of talk about what the movie means to us and all of that. And so that is on July 27th at 5:30. Right here in this room, and it's this 2024 American biographical drama musical film is based on the life of reggae singer and songwriter Bob Marley, from his rise to fame in the mid-70s up until his death in 1981. So like I said, we'll have some discussion. Love offerings are gratefully appreciated, and we'll have some water for sale. And if you want to bring goodies to share, that's fine also. We do have older Science of Mind magazines over here that are free. Help yourself. There's also some CDs that somebody's donated, and so you're welcome to take those. We've got one magazine of the current one, and it's a bi-monthly, and that's $4. So you can have that for the low price of $4. And if you would like to hear some good news of the world to affirm the good in the world, we have a link on our Facebook page called And Now the Good News. This program is put together by New Thought Media Network and airs on Fridays at 5 p.m. And they just have great ideas or great things that are happening there, because there is actually good news in the world. Sometimes it's challenging to look at, and we need to redefine and redesign our thoughts on that, but there is some good news. And New Thought Media Network has over 40 hours of stuff online. So they've got radio, they've got shows, they've got prayer at 8:15 morning and evening. They've got programs in Spanish. So there's just all kinds of stuff. And so you can go find that at www.ntmedia.org, and you can check out what they have. So we are so truly blessed by everyone who has chosen CSL Denver as by showing up on Sundays or watching our services online. And we know that as we move through this week and the rest of this year, the Divine Beloved is guiding and loving each and every one of us. Thank you for joining us. And now let's close out with Karen Drucker singing I Am So Grateful.
Hey, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for all that I have. I'm so grateful. I'll just count my